Bird of Prey 5. El Karuga. Qapla.
I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail Karuga. That's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember to tip your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
If you come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. If you're here to make war, we surrender.
Both good. The important thing is I'm meeting new people.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework factory. From now on, it's going to be under one roof. You're going to run it like a business. And that means you're going to make a profit.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words proudly saying, "We the people."
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Esri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Bird of Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello world, it's Bird of Prey 5, Qapla, and welcome to Enterprise Wednesday for Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. Today we are watching Star Trek Enterprise, Season 2, Episode 23, Regeneration. And the link to watch us live in the screening room or join the panel has just been posted. And it would appear that I forgot to turn off the goddamn heart symbol. So I guess we'll have it for today's stream. Sorry about that. It was I was napping. I was napping until 6 minutes. 6 minutes until live. Well, maybe not 6 minutes, but till pretty close. Had a good nap. Today. We'll say that. So welcome all. Didn't get a chance to finish everything I normally do before we start. But it's a good episode. Regeneration, the Borg episode of Star Trek. Originally, Brandon Braga said to everybody, "No effing way. I will never," he said, "I will never have the Borg in Enterprise. This is a prequel. The Borg don't belong in Enterprise. That's just fucking stupid." Until he heard the pitch. He heard the pitch and he said, "That is goddamn genius." So just this one time, I will let the Borg appear in Enterprise. And he did. And despite there being some, issues with history, it was still, it made sense. It made enough sense that he was okay with it. And more importantly, I'm okay with it. As I suspect most of you are okay with it, because As certain people say, genius is its own defense. Genius is an affirmative defense. And when things work out well, even if it would be guilty under other standards, lesser standards, lesser quality shows are held to different standards sometimes. Because if you can do things well, then that overrules, overwrites, and yes, it's a. You say, well, you're holding things to different standards. You're goddamn right. You're goddamn right. I'm holding things to different standards. If they're good, they don't have to follow the same standards as mediocre, barely competent trash. It's like a bowling alley, okay? And if you have 8-year-olds bowling, you put up the goddamn bumpers so that they're not always throwing balls down the fucking gutters. Okay? But if you have a fucking adult team playing, with the bowling balls, whatever the fuck you call billiard, no, not billiards. Billiards is, no, whatever the fuck you call bowling. You have an adult team that goes out bowling. You don't bring out the fucking bumpers because you have a 25-year-old who's never played the game before. Or even if they have played the game their entire lives and they're just shitty at it. You know what? If you're a shitty bowler, you're a shitty bowler. You don't get the bumpers put up because you never figured out how to fucking throw the ball straight. And that's the deal with why we hold Star Trek Discovery to higher standards than we would hold, a college kid's first try at a sci-fi script. Anyway, I'm annoyed just talking about this. Moving on. John Araki, first in the chat. Hashtag Napstream. Hashtag Croners. Hashtag Stay Sassy. Welcome, John Araki. LDG at hashtag Free the Net says he's the first, not first in the chat. Absolute lie. You are the fourth, not first. John Araki didn't say first. And LDG says howdy to John. John DeMarco says greetings to all. Greetings, John. The second John in the chat. Captain Phantom Nerd says hello, Captain. Mr. Lundell's groovy movie says Qapla batlet to the face. Mr. Lundell watching some Wrath of Khan earlier today. Dan Ben says you will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. And Dan Ben says apparently the phrase resistance is futile appeared the first time on TV in a 1967 Doctor Who episode called Tomb of the Cybermen. Fuck them. Never heard of it. Doctor what? Never even heard of it. Sorry, Yvette. 47 Yorktown says, hello, young sir. We got some UFOs and rockets. Welcome, 47. Carlo Albanese says, hi. Hope everyone's as well as can be. Hope you are doing well, Carlo. Yvette, a lovely Yvette, says, good evening, Bird, and everyone. Good evening to the lovely Yvette. I hope your voice is doing better. I hope I haven't set you off by pretending I didn't know what Doctor Who was. Carlo Albanese says, hail, Karoga. Hail, Karoga. LDG says, good morning to all, which is a lie. Carlo Albanese says, we, the people of Karoga, will succeed. Indeed, we will. Indeed, we will. And Carlo says, if only we can regenerate. And Carlo also says, sleep, oh pray, for the win. I agree. I agree. LDG says, a good nap in the underground. Yes, I was in the underground for a good time, a good part of the night. Carlo Albanese says, "Your channel, welcome." I have a feeling that that's from Star Trek 3. Carlo Albanese says, "History will never forget the name Enterprise." Miss Londell says, "If that's good, if it's that good, it sets the standard." Absolutely. Carlos says, "0G bowling isn't as fun as it seems." Carlos says, "I think Bird is upset he didn't get the bumpers. The bumpers." You know what? You're right. If I couldn't get the bumpers, then nobody deserves the bumpers. Jedi Bill says, "Qapla Bird, Qapla Jedi Bill." Jedi Bill says hello to Carlo. And Carlo says, "Damn it, Jim. It's a doctor, not a spelling major." I'm a doctor, not a spelling major. And Carlo says to Jedi Bill, "Hope he's been doing well." Miss Lundell's Groovy Movie says, "The phrase on that Doctor Who episode was resistance is useless, not futile." Carlo says that Carlo says a lot. Needs a Chronos to balance it out. Indeed. And Dan Ben says, "At the time this episode was on TV, they promoted it with a special guest star. If it was one of the ladies that gets assimilated, but it was one of the ladies who gets assimilated, but don't know who she was." I don't know either, but that's all fine and good. We're going to go ahead and get started now. This is Star Trek Season 2, Episode 23, Star Trek Enterprise, Regeneration. You can watch it live in the screening room. The link is in the chat, http www.birdofprey5.com/sr. And if you're watching on a mobile device, use a second mobile device. Please, if you're watching on a computer browser, you can open a second tab to watch in the screening room and keep YouTube open in the main tab. Check that that's not somebody messaging me that, no, all good. Okay. Carlo Albanese says, "Don't see this episode alone nor in the dark." I don't recall it being a particularly scary episode. It's certainly not a Halloween episode. It originally aired April 7th, 2003. So very little spook factor there. Okay. Heading to the screening room. We'll count down and we'll get started. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. And we have a spaceship in ice, the Arctic Circle, Earth. People walking across the ice. I think this is the place. Some humans. And a whole bunch of metal on the ground. They're looking up. They're realizing the depth of the debris field. Take a look around. It looks like debris. It looks like you're in the middle of it and you've been walking through it for some time. Somebody just happens to walk up to a body. I guess they have a tricorder or something. They start digging, and there's a perfectly preserved Borg body a couple inches under the ice. Of course, they don't know what Borg is, but we know what Borg is. And it's in solid ice. And cue the music. Dan Ben says maybe the Doctor Who thing he said was wrong. Carlo says at least it hasn't melted. Dan Ben says the guest cast included Benita Ferrici, the wife of main cast member John Bigelow. Oh my God, the wife of Dr. Phlox. Why didn't Picard's Enterprise clean up the mess? Yeah, Mr. Lundell, I guess that was one of the problems that Brannon Braga and many other people had with the thought of there being Borg in Enterprise, but the thought of, that is actually a way of bringing Borg into Enterprise kind of just made up for it. Carlo Albanese reminds me of how I pronounce the word turrets as turrets. He gets a kick out of it. Dan says, yeah, the Death Star also exploded and left wreckage. They're going to try to get him out of here. Arctic 1, Alpha Team, contact Commander William. It was a bottle of scotch. And this lady's picking up EM traces, a few dozen meters under the glacier. Never start digging. You got another one. And these feet are out. Uh-oh, this Borg is not covered in ice. For some reason. And Carlos says, see, altered timeline. Dan Ben says the ship's wreckage was caused by quantum torpedoes. They got their arms apart, and like what I can tell, I'm surprised that this arm belongs to this guy who clearly has an arm. Is this guy the same guy from Little Green Men? This scientist guy, he strikes me as the same as the guy who's married to the woman from Little Green Men. Whatever he is, the professor. Uh-oh, the Borg are waking up. An arm is spinning. Uh-oh. Dan Ben says we have seen ship Borg wreckage before in TNG. And I Borg with you. All right, looking at a form of nanotech. 1,000 of nanotech in both aliens. This arm's as good as new. Addie goes places with a $5 super chat. The only way I can talk to Joe is if I pay $5. Sorry, Addie. It's been a busy day. I've been napping all day. I got to take a look. I haven't opened Discord yet. Been a busy day. It's been a long road. I don't want to revive the species. They don't know anything they've been doing here. Yes, that once again, I closed Discord and didn't reopen it. Clearly, that's the way to. That's what I'm going to do from now on. Keeps me getting super chats. By the way, for those interested, City Skylines 2, not all it's cracked up to be. Not very optimized. If you've got anything but a next gen system, you're not going to get very good performance. At least that is my experience, my personal experience. Make of it what you will. Dan Ben, shouldn't these Borg of experience a disconnection to the collection not be like this? You would think not. Taylor Swift, greater than Disney Star Wars. Waving with the turquoise man. Welcome, Taylor Swift. Dan Ben said, you said once that you don't open Discord unless people send you the link from it. Well, people who I know on Discord sometimes contact me outside of Discord to remind me to go to Discord. That's how I remember sometimes to open Discord. Like Addie. Addie contacts me through Discord, but I forget to open Discord. So he'll sometimes send me a super chat, remind me to open Discord. Now, I'm not suggesting anybody else do that because Addie is independently wealthy and he can afford sending me $5 every time he needs me to answer a message to him. I know most of you cannot. So it's just, don't worry about it. And Addie goes places, says it's not all cracked up to be if you're running on a laptop from 2012 like Joe. Well, Addie, we all can't buy new computers every year because we're not all fucking super rich. You know, we don't all get to travel the world, literally traveling the world, making YouTube videos of how you go to destination to destination from fucking Iceland to fucking Nordic places that no person who speaks English can even hope to pronounce, to Tahiti, to fucking Argentina and shit in the same week. In the same week. What? I sound jealous? Just because he goes to see the Northern Lights and the Southern Lights and fucking half-naked women in the fucking Pacific Islands and shit. I'm not jealous. If it's not in America, it's not worth visiting. Addie goes places says if anyone would like Joe's personal phone number so you can message him to open Discord, let me know. And Dan Van says, yeah, I used to have that with smartphones. I buy one every year or two. Yeah. Addie. I see it. I see those laughing faces. Just because you can fucking walk. Just because you can walk. Just because you're married, have a wife. Fucking had a kid when you were young and spry. Addie puts in 2 legs as a fucking emojis. Wow. To hit below the belt. Dan Ben says, but phone chargers with the wire, I've had to buy a lot of those. I remember when phones had batteries. A phone without a replaceable battery is no phone at all. So Enterprise has finally been told about the Borg. They don't know what they're called, but they find that these creatures have been in the ice for a century in Earth. Reed needs Dr. Phlox's help trying to figure out what's going on with these aliens. He'd rather have a better idea of what they're facing. What sort of people replace perfectly good body parts with cybernetic implants? As if your heart was damaged, wouldn't you want him to replace it with a synthetic organ? The Phlox once encountered binars in beta Manialo lobe, replaced part of the kid's brain with fucking technology. The research team was heavily armed. Why would you send a heavily armed research team to the Arctic? Dan Ben has one of those smartphones where you can't open the back. So does I. So do I. So does everyone. That's the problem. It became normal. They were under attack. They requested immediate assistance. So while I was complaining about Addie, apparently the Borg escaped Earth. I guess, I don't know. They took over a ship, and they're now marauding through the galaxy. They've upgraded the systems. The Arctic transport, the engines were upgraded, that they somehow caught up with Enterprise. Enterprise was headed back to Earth, but still they caught up in a ridiculous short amount of time. Arcalian ship. They have their beverage aboard. Arcalian tea. Are they transporting tea? Arcalian should live, but the renal glands have already been replaced. They're being transformed into a cybernetic hybrid. Dan Ben says the binars are in the TNG episode 11001001 and Lower Decks. Phlox is trying to slow down the progress, but he's not doing too well. He doesn't sense the danger for the crew, but Captain Archer is less sure. You're going to have Malcolm post a guard, because posting a single guard has always proven useful in Starfleet history. The Random Menace says renal glands do not produce the priceless Roganite. Well, it depends. My renal glands apparently do produce a fair amount of priceless Karoganite. This reminds him of something Cochrane said 89 years ago. He was giving an address at Princeton. He got drunk and he talked about cybernetic creatures who tried to stop the first warp flight in Montana. That he was defeated by humans from the future. Cochrane was famous for imaginative stories and probably intoxicated. Nobody took him seriously. Seems weird that nobody would take that pretty seriously, right? Like if George Washington gave a speech after the Revolutionary War and said, you know what really happened? Americans from the future came and they were wearing rainbow flags and talking about pronouns. You know what? You're right. I guess nobody would believe him. Never mind. Fair point. I concede. Random Man says, I missed the word there while typing. Their renal glands do not produce priceless Karoganite. That makes more sense. And Dr. Phlox got the tubulas. The tubulas? Tubulas? You know what I'm talking about. Oh, man, that woman is Dr. Phlox's real life wife. She has a, as Malcolm would say, he has a fine looking bum. Dr. Phlox was attacked. There's that lone guard. Didn't get much of a chance to shoot anything. Tubules. None of the aliens injected him. The aliens went up this ladder. Put him in decon, maximum security. Their physical strength has been enhanced. Don't let them touch you. Dan Van says Dr. Phlox got tubed. Stay here in case there's any more problems. You think you can do anything? Archer is like, I'll be on the bridge if you need anything. It's feeding time for the slugs. Yeah. Moving through the ship pretty quickly. Like they clearly know where they're going somehow. Even if they were fully Borg at this point, why would they know the layout of the ship? Not that I'm aware. They've found the transport on long-range sensors. Warp 4.9 doubled their top speed in less than 12 hours. Says Trip. So they were at warp 2.45. The 2.5, 2.49, whatever they were at. They should not be anywhere near where they are. They would have had to been going faster than Enterprise to get this far into the away from Earth. Yeah, but how do you increase the engine of a ship that can only go so far? Well, presumably you're not increasing the size of the engine. You're increasing the efficiency of the engine. Stop what you're doing or I'll shoot at you. Yeah, good luck with that. Maximum setting, fall back. Yeah, it had a head start, but it can't have had a month of a head start. There's two of them. Weapons are useless. Well, if you had a batleth, you could probably attack them. There's an outer hatch. Blow the goddamn hatch. Malcolm, I want you to kill yourself. I want you to run and attack, and then we're going to blow the hatch and suck you all into space. It's an order. Oh, or you guys can save yourselves if you want to. Yeah. You took the coward's way out by not being sucked into space to protect your ship. Would have been nice if you had kept one. Maybe try to beam them back after you blew them into space. Try to figure out what they were doing. Food. Locke says if he eats, his cellular metabolism would increase and the nanoprobes could sped further. Why do you have a phaser? Lieutenant Reed's idea. Maybe a few hours. Oh, she could stay a little while. I think she's like wink, wink. Dr. Fox is like, it's better you stay away. Like she's armed though. You looked after her more times than she can count. She wants to return the favor, Doc. He's underestimated the nanoprobes once. He's not going to make the same mistake. It's better you don't stay. but she can feed the slugs. Tripp says they did a real number on his circuits. It take days to figure it out. Almost overloaded the plasma regulators. It doesn't make sense to trip. Why blow up the ship? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to say that his phasers didn't really do much. He might have been firing holographic bullets, which was a reference to First Contact, where holographic bullets actually worked. But why would they know what holographic bullets? I mean, it's just not something you'd say when you're firing phasers. Truman Cunningham is in the galley. If you'd like something else, it's T'Pol to Captain Archer. He's fine with just coffee. So T'Pol says, so you still intend to rescue the humans? She doesn't think they really can be rescued. If they've already been transformed, it's going to be difficult. But there's 29 life forms, and it's logical to inform they've all been infected. They endanger Enterprise if they're brought on board. You should reconsider. You're saying we shouldn't go after it? Paul's saying, I'm saying we destroy it. And, uh-oh. Please come to sick bay. You never want to hear that. Archer says he's not ready to declare them a lost cause. No. I'm guessing your doctor is about to tell you they're lost. And so is he. Archer comes in, asks him, how's he feeling? He says, better than he anticipated. But they're guys, they're resilient. It won't be long before they adapt. His problem is he's been trying to treat the infection like it's an infection. And that's the problem. It's forget the biological. A last-ditch cure, a neurotoxin that will stop his neural functions in a matter of seconds. He has no intention of turning into one of these creatures. So if nothing else happens, use it. Now, Malcolm is trying to overcome it by making the weapons more powerful. Finally. They're going to reach the transport in an hour. Oh, and I think we've seen rifles now. I don't know if we've seen those phaser rifles before. They've improved. For defenses, warp 4.98 now. Targeting EPS manifold. They're driving in. They're sending a transmission, an activation sequence. It couldn't be blocked. And oh shit, a virus has taken over the Enterprise. Dan Ben says Enterprise has had phaser rifles since season 1. Sometimes they shoot a beam, sometimes a pulse. Good eye, Daniel. Dan. Uh-oh. Resistance is futile. Did they say this is the Borg? I missed that. They could use weapons, Trip. Put on the goddamn weapons. Archer is depending on T'Pol to pull them out. Uh-oh. Dr. Phlox can hear them talking. Jedi Bills as the ship is being assimilated. It is. Everybody's being assimilated. Dr. Phlox is being assimilated. The ship is being assimilated. I guess that's it. Dr. Phlox tells the security guard how to work a CAT scan machine or a futuristic MRI. Uh-oh. They're using the transporter. You know shit is serious. Things are serious when the transporter works absolutely perfectly. There's the famous Borg enclave. All planes at 23%. There's plenty of Borg just standing around, fucking being lazy Borg. Hey, buddy. I got a phaser to the face. Too bad he didn't wake up and see it. Would have been intimidating if his eyes weren't closed. Sucker shots. The first couple always go down. Archer had no problem shooting. This was a researcher. They're not human anymore. Uh-oh. Couple more guys came out. 3 of them. 4 of them. 5. Not, I don't want to shoot them now. Uh-oh. Enterprise has been boarded. 6 biosigns on C deck. How much longer the trip? He's about ready to try the power relays. Archer and Malcolm Shoot another couple of Borg. Same as the others. They're not human anymore. Can't do anything for them. So I guess Archer's realizing it's too late. There's no humans aboard that ship anymore. And now the Enterprise crew is shooting at Borg, and they've adapted. You can't, they only took out 2. Now the rest, they've got their force fields. So it probably means, oh no, Malcolm, there's a Borg. There's a Borg choking Malcolm. Archer was able to pull out some wires, get it knocked down. It's a good thing that you can just touch a Borg, and there's no defense for that. But if you shoot it, it gets a shield. Why are these Borg? So these Borg have not adapted to the phaser shots. So the Borgs on Enterprise have. So Malcolm's leaving some, I guess, explosives behind. They're cutting into the hull on E-deck. Now they've adapted on Borg ship. Luckily, just in time for them to beam out. Now, if this was TNG, of course, it would have been too close to beam in and out. So, okay, they're blowing the ship. And despite the ship being right next to the Enterprise, it's perfectly safe for Malcolm to set off the explosives. Dan Ben says, how come the ones on the Borg ship don't have adapted, but the ones on Enterprise have? Yeah, I guess just because. LDG says, wow. The alien ship and circuitry has been disabled, says T'Pol. There isn't anyone on that ship they can help anymore, says Archer. Something's happening on the transport. The systems are being restored, and they're charging weapons. Archer says, hit them with everything they've got. And boom, they destroyed the transport. Get him Admiral Forrest, says Archer. Very somber mood. Captain Starlog, March 1st, 2153. They resume their previous heading at low warp. Dr. Phlox is confident he'll be okay. Aren't you supposed to be in bed? He's catching up on some paperwork. Vital to keep the mind occupied. You say doctors make the worst patients, Archer. There's something you should know. He had a rather strange experience. He was connected with the aliens through some form of telepathy. They're trying to communicate. He felt like he was part of a group consciousness, collective, if you will. T'Pol says, maybe you just imagined it. They got the distinctive impression they were trying to send a numerical, they were trying to send a message, a numerical sequence over and over. And he heard it over and over again. Shows the sequence to Archer and T'Pol. The computer analyzed Phlox's numbers. They're pulsar frequencies. spatial coordinates. They told their homeworld how to find Earth. You know where it was sent? Somewhere deep in the Delta Quadrant. Well, there's no immediate danger. It would take at least 200 years for a subspace message to reach the Delta Quadrant. So, Archer says, sounds like we've only postponed the invasion until what? The 24th century? Dun, dun, dun. LDG says, thanks goes to Q for fixing this paradox by shoving the Enterprise in front of the cube that got the transmission. Indeed, it would seem like Q did indeed save the Federation's ass by picking Jean-Luc Picard and the crew of the USS Enterprise N701D to be reminded about the Borg, because it seems like had he not done that, no one in Starfleet would have remembered that any of this happened. And no one would have remembered that the Borg would be on their way. So, big thanks to Q for doing that. Yvette says, thank you, Bird. Great episode. Yeah, it was a good episode, but no need to thank me, Yvette. And I hope you feeling better. And I hope I see there was a storm. I'm glad. I don't know. Mom O'Price, not sure if that was true or not, but I hope I'm glad you're doing well. I assume it's true. Miss Londell's Groovy Movie says they should have left the Borg in Jean-Luc's timeline. Dan Ben says, is why the Borg go to the neutral zone in TNG. The neutral zone, which is before Q, has the same pattern of destruction at the planet. It might be. Jedi Bill says, hey to LTG and to Yvette. Dan Ben says, I'm not sure the Borg had transwarp until TNG season 6. That's the first time as an audience we've seen it. And Yvette says, a big storm. I'm good. Lots of people not so lucky. Some does. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Yvette. I did not hear about any type of storm in England on the local news, but Mom O'Prey saw it online. That's everybody sends some good vibes and well wishes to Yvette and everyone out there across the pond might need it. Dan Ben says there was a big storm recently in parts of Scotland. Some people did die. Oh my God. Sorry to hear. Sorry to hear. Okay, guys. I think that will do it for today. That is Star Trek Enterprise Season 2, Episode 23. Regeneration. Next week is First Flight. Season 2, Episode 24. First Flight. Directed by LeVar Burton, a.k.a. Geordie LaForge. The Enterprise is about to investigate a dark matter cloud. Captain Archer is informed by Admiral Forrest that his former Starfleet colleague, Captain Robinson, has died in a rock climbing accident. Archer, seeking solitude, desires to travel into the nebula in a shuttle pod armed with spatial charges to excite the dark matter. Sub-Commander T'Pol, noting captains are prohibited from traveling on off-ship unaccompanied, joins him and convinces him to tell the story of his friend Robinson and the Warp 5 program. And we get a series of flashbacks of Captain Archer meeting with Commodore Forrest, and you get to see the back and forth between him and Robinson. The interesting break from the usual progress of events of Enterprise. So that is first flight next week. Anyway, guys, it's Archer's Carbon Creek episode, says LDG. I don't know about that, but it's different. It's different. Anyway, that'll be it for today. Thank you all for coming. Qapla All, bird out.